Welcome back to my channel. At the end of July, in a live stream, good old dependable Mickey took another shot at the Filipina P, again saying she lied about feminism in the Philippines and, just as a bonus, calling her the B word. Remember, as I documented before, Mickey claims he doesn't make personal attacks. And as I also documented, he actually does. In this case, I'm pretty sure calling someone a liar because they have a different opinion is personal. And if there was any doubt, using the B word confirms it. When I was on YouTube, I also reacted to P's video about feminism not taking root in the Philippines. There were things I thought she might be wrong about, but I could at least see the reasons for her position and could see she may be correct, or not. But I was just giving my opinion with no need to personally trash someone else's opinion and call them a liar. Mickey seems to lack that ability, almost as if he is a narcissist. So, in this video, I'm going to focus on the kind of person Mickey is. Yeah, the other stuff where he got caught lying about what someone says also shows what kind of person he is, but this is going to include some special examples. But let's be fair. Mickey did make one improvement in his brief comment about P in that July live stream. This time, he only said she lied about feminism not taking root in the Philippines. That is what she actually expressed as her opinion. But remember, when Mickey attacked her before, he flat out lied and repeatedly claimed that P said feminism didn't even exist in the Philippines. She never said any such thing. Remember, many terms don't have clear-cut definitions. There can be lots of opinions about what a term actually means. That is, how does one define taking root? That is not something one person can decide for themselves and impose their meaning on others to justify calling them a liar. The only thing we can be sure of is that something can exist, but not actually take root. So, this time, other than the name calling, Mickey managed to accurately describe what P really said. This is a huge improvement for Mickey, but we still have a problem. As I have also documented, Mickey has stated he can admit when he is wrong. However, somehow there is no admission that he was wrong when he falsely claimed P said feminism doesn't even exist in the Philippines. Mickey never has been any good at admitting errors, maybe because they were made on purpose. All this leads me to documenting the really scary attitudes Mickey has. Let's start with his rather weird view about taking advantage of women. First, the scenario P presented.
If you're sitting in a lifeboat and someone's drowning in the ocean next to you, and you offer to pull them into the boat in exchange for a lifetime of servitude, that's certainly offering them a better deal. But is it a fair deal?
To me, the answer is obvious. Of course it isn't fair. If you think it is, just watch what happens when you get reported to the legal authorities for holding that person in servitude. But forget the legal situation. What about basic morality? We know many men travel to the Philippines to prey on desperate women. You can't get more desperate than the scenario P presented. And, yep, a man who presents her with that kind of deal is preying on her. So what does Mickey say? Well, this.
Yes. Because I can be like, do you want to jump in the boat? Right? Do you want to die now? Or do you want to be in this tribe? I'm sorry. See, this is the funny part, right? Where women don't understand how the things worked. Just because, us human beings, just because of socialization, you remove that, we're animals. And so even if you take it back to the caveman back in the days, when we tore through another tribe's place, right? When we go in through a tribe and when we attack that place, we kill all the men. The women has a choice. They can choose to be somebody's slave or husband or wifey in the side or whatever. Or they can choose to die with the rest of the men. The thing though is, the woman doesn't need to attach herself to the man.
Truly amazing. It sure sounds like Mickey isn't taking part in the socialization aspect of humanity. After all, he flat out said it was fair to keep a woman in servitude in exchange for saving her life. That's pretty much a textbook case for what bad men do when going to a poor country to prey on women. And presenting the times when groups would kill all the men and then give women the choice of dying or giving in to what these men want from them, that such things happened has literally nothing to do with what is right. It reminds me of Mickey's typical excuse for attacking women for no reason, publicly criticizing a woman's appearance because it is just how men talk. It's like Mickey seeks out the lowest common denominator to justify his own bad behavior. And then there's the absolute stupidity where, after making his perverted argument, he says the woman has a choice and they don't need to attach herself to one of these men who just killed all the men in their tribe. It may technically be a choice, and you could probably find a small number of women who would opt to die if these men killed her husband. But it really is no more of a choice than exists when a mafia guy tells you, "Nice family you have there, be ashamed if something happened to them," as they give you the choice of buying their insurance, or to choose not to testify against them in court. In Mickey's scenario, of course it is going to overwhelmingly be women needing to choose to live. If Mickey can't understand that, then we probably should remove the word need from the English language. But this isn't an isolated example of Mickey's twisted mind. This next part may surprise you at first, because I'm going to document Mickey Mouse actually getting stuff right. Yeah, I know, that's a bit of a shock. But stick with it, because what he gets right will end up reflecting very badly on what he then does.
Let's be honest. Morena-skinned women are considered less attractive in the Philippines.
While he is correct, this also contradicts his other claims about beauty standards being the same everywhere, as well as his objections to the famous statement that beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. Filipinas may not care for those with morena skin tone, but Western men tend to like the natural tan look. Different cultures, different beauty standards. Mickey gets this right too.
But think about it this way. If a woman, because women are more conscious about, their self-esteem issues and conscious about their looks and all that stuff, right?
All true, and partly because so many men first only consider a woman's appearance. So it just makes sense that women are more sensitive to such criticism.
So, if a woman is considered less attractive growing up just because of her looks, does it affect her self-esteem? Yes.
That's also true. You can't keep demeaning people of any age without having a negative effect on them.
If they have that they're considered less attractive in the Philippines, they're made fun of by their family members, they're made fun of their classmates, okay? When they have that self-esteem issue, that is detrimental for you in a relationship, because they're always gonna need what we call affirmation, outside affirmation from people that you're beautiful, because the whole time is they feel that they look ugly because people told them that and they weren't able to come out of that cocoon.
This is just an extension of what was already said, but it is all true. Way to go, Mickey.
And let's be honest, according to studies, that people who are less attractive has a higher chance of creating bad relationships, cheating. Real studies. I'm not saying they all are that way. I'm saying there's a higher probability.
I agree with all that too.
Your job as a man is not having to fix a broken woman.
True, it does increase the risk factor, so you should keep it in mind, along with different cultures, economic levels, age, race, and more.
They don't care if you date Filipino women. They just don't. You guys want to know why? Because most average foreign men dates the throwaways.
While it is true that some Filipinos may be considered throwaways by Filipinos, this can be because of skin color, which Mickey has already pointed out. But why should Western men, who tend to like the natural tan look, care about that? My evaluation of beauty sure isn't determined by what a Filipino thinks is beautiful. And remember, this whole thing just confirms that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Otherwise, Filipinos would have the same preferences as Western men. Also, if a Filipina hits the age of 30 without being married, she may be considered by Filipinos as a leftover. But remember, men going to the Philippines to find a wife are usually retired. So these much older men are also quite likely to be thrilled to find a woman who is pretty and who is also 30 or more years old. In other words, one person's leftovers are another person's treasure, which I think is great and sure beats the alternative where everyone has exactly the same preferences. But next, we'll see Mickey go completely off the rails, made worse by what I just documented him saying. Remember, a woman hearing herself being described as unattractive or ugly will be negatively affected. Mickey said so. And that can hurt her relationships. Mickey said so. Well, here comes the real Mickey, saying things as if he is unaware of those problems he just described, as he attacks the appearance of a Filipina for no reason at all. After referring to one Filipina as easy to look at, Mickey turns into a brat as he attacks the wife of Paul, Old Dog New Tricks.
At least she is easy to look at. Baby May, on the other hand, I'm sorry, I know I'm bad. I know it sucks.
And then he attacks other Filipinos on Baby May's channel, starting by reading this comment by someone called Modern Day Reality, who wrote, "Every girl in Baby May's vids are as ugly as her."
Every girl in Baby May vids are as... especially that girl that's like, oh. You see that girl? Oh. I'm so fucked up. You guys don't talk about there's that one girl. Good, feel good. And she's like super skinny. You know? I'm like, shit. I'm like, bro, that girl came out of the Tales from the Crypt shit.
This isn't just a guy being childish and insensitive to others who have done nothing to him. He's on record about the damage such criticism can cause, which can last a lifetime, hurting chances for good relationships. Yet he does it anyway. That's just sick. Remember when Mickey said it isn't your job as a man to fix a woman who has been a victim of insults about her appearance? You know what also isn't the job of a real man? Adding to the insults. And you can tell, he is happiest when making those insults. He literally thrives on hurting others. Mickey isn't done yet. He reads another post by Derek Greenwade, which says, "Baby May's friend could eat squash through a picket fence with them teeth," and responds,
Baby May's friend could eat squash through a picket fence. Damn, Derek! Oh shit, that's wrong.
just like you saw in grade school, children supporting other children being cruel to others. Mickey also seems to fear women's opinions just because they are women. He acts like if a woman says something, that alone is enough to just write it off, like he says here.
And you're right. You're going to hear guys say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Says a woman. You know who said beauty is in the eye of the beholder? A woman said that.
That's a weak man argument. It's like when men, such as Andy Omar, say it makes no sense to listen to a woman give her view on relationships, and the only reason given is that it is a woman. It's just circular reasoning, unworthy of a real man. But let's look into it, because Mickey is wrong anyway. You see, while those exact words were said by a woman in a book written in 1878, the exact quote is an old axiom and well said that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But it is the meaning that matters, not the specific words. The same sentiment was made many times, long before, by men. Thus it was an old axiom, just reworded. In 1742, David Hume wrote, "Beauty in things exist merely in the mind which contemplates them." Ben Franklin wrote in 1741, "Beauty, like supreme dominion, is but supported by opinion." Shakespeare even addressed it in the 1500s. So the woman writer simply stated the same view made by famous men, but in different words. Let's look at another insane thought process Mickey uses, just as some bonus material for this video.
All you gotta do is go to Instagram and then click Filipina beauty and stuff like that. So when you start looking at just some Instagram, just to see some photos of Filipinas in majority and stuff like that.
Do you see the problem with what he does, and then refers to it as showing a majority of Filipinas? Let's go through it. First, he goes to Instagram. Who is most likely to post photos of themselves on Instagram? Ordinary looking women or pretty ones? Second, Myky searches for Filipina beauty, which will further focus just on the really beautiful women. Third, he clicks on the Filipina Beauty Club thumbnail, further restricting the kinds of Filipinas you will see photos of. This tells you nothing about what the majority of Filipinas look like. Just to be sure, I did a search for beautiful American, and surprise, saw a bunch of stunning American women. I lived in the US for a very, very long time. These pictures didn't come close to showing what the majority looks like. Also remember, with photos on Instagram, you likely have women using makeup for maximum effect, and who knows what filters or photo touch-up they are using. This is no way to determine what the majority of Filipinas look like. Besides the Filipinas I've seen in person, when looking online, I pay attention to videos but focus on people in the background. You know, people that more likely represent a majority. And sometimes I've looked at videos of beauty contests, since they should represent Filipinas who are, overall, above average. Fact is, while there are plenty of attractive young women, it isn't like the majority is anything like Myky implies or that he showed on Instagram. But it's good to know the kind of nasty person Myky really is, while also seeing how illogical he is, not to mention a lot of his followers. Only question is which of his fans are as bad as he is, and which has he just fooled. Let's look at another random bit of illogic by Myky. After the Filipina P made the point that a young Filipina may be giving up her best years to care for a much older foreigner, and questions whether that is fair if the foreigner didn't plan anything to help her when he passes on, Myky says this.
But from a man's perspective, is what are you talking about? You can say that you're losing the best years of your lives, right? Because we're talking about spouse's death. But at the very same time as I'm spending the last years of my life with you as well. And I'm choosing you. I'm choosing you to provide for you.
Wow, what a deal. I submit there is an inherent imbalance between someone's last years and someone's best years. Let's see. First, the husband isn't choosing to provide for his wife if he doesn't plan anything to help her for after he passes away. Such a man only chose a woman to take care of him and provide sex when she is in her prime, while she ends up caring for him during his very worst years as he ages, putting a huge burden on his wife. So he gets everything he wants for the rest of his life, but his wife only gets help while he is alive, and then, as the Filipina P pointed out, can be left in worse shape than when they met. I guess they just don't make good husbands like they used to. Thanks for watching, and don't let the trolls stop you from speaking out.